Hello students, we are reading first chapter of Hornbill of class 11 and that is the portrait of a lady written by Khushwant Singh. In the first part, we have read that this is the story of Khushwant Singh and his grandmother. It depicts the relationship, the bonding between them. In the first part, we have seen that initially, Khushwant Singh was with his grandmother in the village and he was very attached with his grandmother. His grandmother was the only unchallenged guardian, mentor and creator of the child Khushwant Singh in her village life, because she was just taking care of him and she was fulfilling all his needs. She was accompanying him to the school and just fulfilling all the needs. And she was also helping him in the studies also. So in this period, she was the only mentor of the child Khushwant Singh. But when they moved to city with his parents, then the life changed. Here the role of his grandmother in his bringing up was curtailed a little bit. That means we can say now their relationship changed and it was a turning point in their friendship. No doubt they shared the same room, but now his grandmother was not accompanying him to come to school, because he used to go to an English medium school in a motor bus, right? So now time has changed. In the first part, one thing was also mentioned that when Khushwant Singh just said that his grandmother was not so beautiful. So he just wants to say that possibly she was not beautiful in worldly sense, but she looked extremely beautiful with the peacefulness, with the serenity and with the contentment on her face. So here I just want to make it clear that how Khushwant Singh was considering his grandmother extremely beautiful. She was not looking pretty, but she was very beautiful due to her peacefulness, due to her serenity, right? Now move to next, and from here we will start. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. So that means their relationship changed now. Now they were not able to meet every time. They saw less of each other. For some time, she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. And when I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. So no doubt his grandmother wanted to know what his teacher had taught him. Now, I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning, the law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, the world being round, etc. This made her unhappy. So no doubt the narrator is just eager to discuss each and everything with his grandmother, because he was habitual to that. He always just spent time with his grandmother. He used to spend time with his grandmother, and that's why he used to tell her English words also that he learnt in his English medium school. He also told her about several principles of science, but she was not able to understand all these things, Archimedes' principles, the law of gravity. No one would be able to understand who are uneducated, right? So she became unhappy because she was not able to help him with his lessons now. She could not help me with my lessons. She could not believe in the things they taught at the English school and was distressed that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures. So here we come to know the grandmother could not help him in his homework She had no faith in what was being taught in English medium schools. She was unhappy also that school did not teach anything about God and the books of religion. So here we can say that she was not satisfied with the Western culture, with the Western studies. One day, I announced that we were being given music lessons. She was very disturbed. To her, music had lewd associations. It was the monopoly of harlots and beggars and not meant for gentlefolk. Lewd means indecent, vulgar we can say, and monopoly means exclusively, only for, that means, and harlot means not good people. Here we can say rogues or vagabonds, like this way. Gentlefolk means good people. So here one day when the narrator informed that we would be taught music in our school, she was very unhappy to know this. She thought that music is not a good art. According to her, music was followed by rogues and beggars. Right? So here she was not satisfied. She was not in the favor of music. And why? Because she was just thinking that music was followed by rogues and beggars, and good people should not learn music. So she was not in the favor of learning music. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. She rarely talked to me after that. So she didn't say anything, but her silence conveyed that she did not approve of learning music. After that, she talked to me on very less occasions. That means she was not satisfied with what was being taught in his school. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. The common link of friendship was snapped. Now, here what happened? When the narrator started studying in university, he was given a separate room, and the common link between him and his grandmother was now broken. Now she was alone in her room. Otherwise, they used to share their room. My grandmother accepted her schoolism. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. So, what we come to know, that she accepted her loneliness. Seclusion means loneliness, without saying anything and without any objection. Resignation means without any objection. So here what we come to know, that now she accepted her loneliness without saying anything and without any objection. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel, spinning and reciting prayers. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. So here, most of the time she was sitting in front of her spinning wheel. She did not talk to anyone. From morning to evening, she sat near her spinning wheel, and she said her prayers, which she used to she used to say her prayers. In the afternoon, for a short time, she used to feed sparrows, and that was her only method of relaxing. So here we come to know that in the afternoon, she used to feed the sparrows in the city, and in the village, she used to feed the street dogs. So that was the difference. That was the difference she was now experiencing. Right? Now, while she sat in the veranda, breaking the bread into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirpingness. So here she sat in the veranda to feed the sparrows. She used to break bread into small pieces before feeding sparrows, and hundreds of birds used to sit around her. And this created a real uproar sound. That means bedlam means real uproar sound. Chirping, continuous loud sounds were there of little birds. Some came and perched means sat on her legs, others on her shoulders, some even sat on her head. She smiled but never shooed them away. So you can imagine what was the scene. Some birds, they just sat on her legs while others sat on her shoulders. They even sat on her head also, but she didn't just push them away. It was her happiest. It used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. So it was the happiest time for her. When I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. I would be away for 5 years, and at her age, one could never tell, but my grandmother could. So now the narrator, the writer, decided to go to foreign countries for his higher studies, and he was certain that his grandmother would be very unhappy to know about it. He was going for 5 years. That was the reason. And nobody was sure if she would be alive till his return. But she knew that she would be alive. That means she was confirm about it. She was not even sentimental. She came to leave me at the railway station but did not talk or show any emotion. Her lips moved in prayer, her mind was lost in prayer. So, what we come to know that his grandmother was not so emotional. She did not show any emotion to know that that he was going abroad. She came to even railway station also to see him off, but she did not talk. She was not emotional at the station. She was just saying her prayers. Her lips were moving and she was completely occupied in her prayers. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary. Silently, she kissed my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. So, here she was moving her fingers on her rosary and saying her prayers, which was you can say, which was her habit to say the prayers. Without speaking anything, she kissed his forehead, and no doubt the narrator respected the moist mark of the kiss as the last meeting sign with his grandmother. Right? So, here we come to know that we can say this thing that the narrator was also very attached with his grandmother. But that was not so. After 5 years, I came back home and was met by her at the station. So, what that was not so? That means that was not the last sign of physical contact between them. That means his grandmother was alive, and when he came back home and was met by her at the station, she did not look a day older. So that was not their last meeting. After 5 years, when the narrator came back, his grandmother was again there to receive him at the railway station, and she looked as old as she was 5 years ago. She still had no time for words, and while she clasped me in her arms, I could hear her reciting her prayers. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrows, whom she fed longer, and with frivolous rebukes. Rebukes means scolding, and frivolous means we can say superficial, artificial, light minded. So she did not speak anything while she hugged me. I could hear, that means the narrator was able to hear that she was saying her prayers, but he was not able to understand that prayer. Even on the day of his arrival, her happiest moments were with the sparrows. That means that routine didn't change. She fed them a little longer and superficially scolded them. उनको डांटे जा रही है क्योंकि वो क्या कर रहे हैं, कभी उसके लेग्स पर, कभी शोल्डर्स पर, कभी हेड पर वो आके बैठ रहे हैं. Then in the evening a change came over her. She did not pray. She collected the women of neighborhood, got an old drum and started to sing. For several hours she thumped the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum and sang of the homecoming of the warriors. So here in the evening she was a changed person. How she changed? She did not pray. She called women from our neighbor, and then she brought an old drum also, and she started singing and playing that drum. And for several hours, that means for many hours, she was beating the skin of that old worn out drum, and she sang songs of a warrior coming back to his home. So in this way, she was just celebrating that time. We had to persuade her to stop to avoid overstraining. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. So even the family members, that means the parents of Khushwant Singh and Khushwant Singh himself, they had to request and convince her to stop playing the drum. They did not want to get her more tired actually, and that was the first evening that his grandmother did not pray. She was just celebrating. The next morning, what happened? She was taken ill. She became ill, and it was a mild fever, and the doctor told us that it will go. But my grandmother thought differently. She told us that her end was near. So here, next morning she became sick, and she had low fever, mild fever. But the doctor told us that the fever would soon go away and she will be all right. But she felt something different. She told us that her end was near and she would die soon. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life, she had omitted to pray. She was not going to waste time talking to us. We protested, but she ignored our protests. So here, the grandmother told us means the family members of Khushwant Singh, that only some hours were left for her death, and she had not prayed last evening, so she wanted to pray. She did not want to waste her time in talking to anybody. No doubt everyone protested, but she neglected their objection, their protest. She lay peacefully in bed praying and telling her beads. Even before we could suspect, her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. A peaceful pallor spread on her face, and we knew that she was dead. Now, what happened? She was peacefully lying her bed. She continued to do prayer with her rosary beads, and before they could have any doubt about her condition, her lips stopped moving, and that string of beads that fell down from her fingers, and her face became yellow. Pallor means yellow, and now they knew that she was dead. We lifted her off the bed as is customary, laid her on the ground, and covered her with the red shroud. After a few hours of mourning, we left her alone to make arrangements for her funeral. So now what happened? Now the grandmother is dead, and then they lifted, that means the family members lifted her from the bed and laid her on the ground. That was this was the custom, and they followed it. And then they covered her body with the red cloth, and they expressed sorrow to each other for few hours. Then they came out of the room to make arrangements for her funeral. In the evening, we went to her room with the crude stretcher to take her to be cremated. Cremated means the last rites, you can say. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with the blaze of golden light. We stopped halfway in the courtyard. So now in the evening, what happened? They went to her room. They put her on a rough stretcher to take her for her last rites. And then the sun was going down, and in her room and veranda there was shine of golden light. So that means that was the sunset time. We stopped in the courtyard. That means the family members stopped in the courtyard. Now what happened? All over the veranda and in her room, right up to where she lay laid and stiff, wrapped in the red shroud, thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor. There was no chirping. So now what happened? His grandmother was lying dead in her room. Her body was covered by a red cloth or sheet, we can say, and everywhere in the veranda and up to her, thousands of sparrows were sitting. They were silent. They were not making any sound. They were not chirping. We felt sorry for the birds, and my mother fetched some bread for them. She broke it into little crumbs the way my grandmother used to and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of the bread. Now, what happened? They felt very bad for the birds. They thought that they had come to eat bread, as his grandmother used to feed them. So his mother brought some bread and she broke it into small pieces, similar to as his grandmother used to do. Then she threw some pieces to sparrows, but the sparrows did not pay any attention to the bread. Why? They were also mourning. They were also feeling sorrow at the death of grandmother. That means we can say even the animals or birds show their feelings, show their emotions. Then when we carried my grandmother's corpse off, they flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. So here, what happened? When they started carrying the dead body of grandmother, the sparrows flew away. They did not make any noise while flying away. That means they were also showing their emotions, showing their concern, showing their sadness, showing their sorrow. And next morning, one of the helpers, one of the sweepers of the house cleaned the floor and he put all the crumbs into the dustbin. So here what we come to know that no, there is not the human beings are not able, not only able to show the emotions, even the birds, the animals, they are they also have feelings, they also have emotions, and they also express those emotions in their own way. So that is the story of the portrait of a lady. So here we read about the grandmother of Khushwant Singh, who was a strong person, strong character in the story. That's all from my side. Thank you. Have a good day.